In this lecture, we are going to talk about the ensembles of decision trees. Ensembles are methods that combine multiple machine learning models to create a more powerful model. Ensemble learning or ensemble classifiers. In ensemble learning or ensemble classifiers, we have different learners which could be different in following sense. That learners have different algorithms, learners can have different models, for example, neural networks, decision trees, or linear models. Learners can have different hyperparameters, for example, number of hidden layers, bias. Learners can have different representations, or learners can have different training sets. So for designing the ensemble classifiers, the two things are very important. One is called the bias, and other is called the variance. What we want to do from the bias is that we want such classifiers which have very low bias. In general, decision trees and neural networks are flexible and have the low bias, whereas linear classifiers are not so flexible and they have the high bias. Uh, so for better designing the ensemble classifier, we need low bias and low variance. Generally, hypotheses with low bias, they have, have high variance. So we ensemble or we combine the individual classifiers such that the ensembles of classifiers have low bias and low variance. So objective of ensemble classifier is to get low bias and low variance using the ensembles of classifier. This is the objective. Using ensemble classifier, weak classifiers which have error less than 0.5 are combined to get low bias and low variance. There are many methods in machine learning literature that belong to this category but there are two ensemble models that have been proven to be very effective on a wide range of data sets and classification and regression problems. And these two types of models are called as a random forest and gradient boosted decision trees. So talking about the random forests as an example of classifiers, we have observed that main drawbacks of decision trees is that they lead to overfitting problem. Random forest is a way to address this problem of overfitting. What the random forest is essentially a collection of decision trees where each tree is slightly different from others, slightly different from others. The idea behind random forest is that each tree might do a relatively good job of predicting, but will likely overfit on the part of the data. For some part of the data, it may overfit. So if we build many trees, all of which work well and overfit in different ways, we reduce the amount of overfitting by averaging their results. This reduction in overfitting while retaining the predictive power of trees can be shown using rigorous mathematics. So we will not go into that mathematics, but it can be shown. So implement this strategy, we build many decision trees. Each tree should have an acceptable job of predicting the target. So it should be different from other trees. So all the trees should be independent. Random forests get their name from injecting randomness into the tree building. We inject the randomness into the tree building to ensure that each tree is different. Each tree is different. There are two ways in which the trees in the random forest are randomized. There are two different ways in which the trees could be randomized. One is by selecting the data points used to build a tree, selecting a data points used to build a tree, and by selecting the features in each split set, or by selecting the features in each split set. Let's go into this process in more detail, and we go through the building the random forests. To build a random forest model, you need to decide on the number of trees to build. That is an estimated parameters of random forest regressor. This is a random forest regressor class in the library, and we set the n estimators. Let's say we want to build 10 trees. These parameters will be completely independent from each other. These trees should be independent of each other. An algorithm will make different random choices for each tree to make sure that trees are distinct. To build a tree, we first take what is called bootstrap sample of our dataset. That is, for n samples, we have n sample data points. We repeatedly draw example randomly with replacement. This is the n sample dataset. We draw n samples. We draw some samples from this with replacement. For example, this is the dataset, and we draw first this. We made a bootstrap one with this dataset, and then we put it back and make a other dataset. Then we make a third dataset. And for each bootstrap, we use a different classifier, classifier 1, classifier 2, and classifier 3. And then we aggregate these three classifiers. So it is an example of ensemble of classifier. Ensemble of classifier. So these things. So this is in this diagram, it shows the ensemble of classifier. This will create a dataset that some data points will be missing from the original dataset. Some data points will be missing from the original dataset, or some will be repeated as well. To give one or more example, let's say we want to create a bootstrap sample of A, B, C, D. A possible bootstrap sample could be B, D, D, and C. Another possible sample could be D, A, D, 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 and A. Next, a decision tree is built based on newly created dataset. However, the algorithm we describe for decision tree is randomly modified. Instead of looking for the best test for each node, in each node, the algorithm randomly selects a subset of features. The algorithm selects a subset of features and looks it for best possible test involving one of these features. The number of features that are selected is controlled by max feature parameter. Max feature parameter is controls the number of features. This selection of subset of feature is repeated separately in each node so that each node in a tree can make a decision tree on different subsets of features. Bootstrap leads to each decision tree in the random forest being built on a slightly different dataset. Because of selection of each feature in each node, each split in each tree operates on a different subsets of each tree actually operates with a different subsets of features. Together, these two mechanisms ensure that all the trees in the random forest are they are different. A critical parameter in this process is the max features. If we set max features to n features, that means that each split can look at all features in the dataset. No randomness will be injected in the feature selection. If we set max features to 1, means that splits have no choice at all on which feature to test and can search very different thresholds for features that are selected randomly. Therefore, a high max feature means that the trees in the random forest will be quite similar. High max features shows that the trees in the random forest will be quite similar and they will be able to fit the data easily using most distinctive features. Using low feature means that the trees in the random forest will be quite different, that each tree might need to be very deep in order to fit the data. To make a prediction using random forest, the algorithm first makes a prediction for every tree in the forest. For regression, we can average these results to get a final prediction. For classification, a soft voting strategy can be used. This means algorithm makes a soft prediction, providing a probability of each possible output label. The probability is predicted by all the trees are averaged and the class with the highest probability is predicted. So here we analyze the random forest and we run a piece of code and see that what it shows the output. So we import the random forest and this is the two moons dataset and test split, and we get the n samples of 100 noise, insert some noise, and so this. So the trees are built on part of the random forest are stored in estimator. The trees are stored in estimator. This estimated attribute lets visualize the decision boundaries learned by each tree together with their aggregate prediction as made by the forest. Below we see the decision trees found by 5 random trees and the decision boundary obtained by averaging of these probabilities. So we install the MJLearn library, and after installing the library, we use the 5 decision trees. So and we see the plot for this and see how it looks like. So here is the tree 0, tree 1, tree 2, tree 3, and tree 4. So 0 to 4. We have the 5 trees starting from the tree 0 to tree 1, tree 4, 0, 1, 2. And we see that individual trees, it leads to overfitting like here. So overfitting like here. So overfitting. So, but when we get a random forest of ensembling all the outputs of these 5 decision trees, we get a very smooth and very smooth decision boundary, and which classifies most of the points using this method. But still, there are some misclassification as well. You can see that see clearly the decision boundaries learned by 5 trees are quite different. So these boundaries learned by these 5 trees, these decision boundaries are quite different. Each of them makes some mistakes. Each of the algorithm, it makes some mistakes like this. So and that are plotted here, not actually included in the training set. So due to bootstrap sampling, the random forest overfits less than any of the trees individually and provides a much more intuitive decision boundary. In any real application, we use many more trees, leading to even smoother boundaries. As another example, let's supply a random forest consisting of 100 trees on a breast cancer dataset. We apply it on breast cancer dataset with an estimator or 100 trees. 100 trees make a forest. These 100 trees, they are making a forest. And we see that training set accuracy is 100% and test set accuracy is 97%. Random forest gives an accuracy of 97%, better than linear models or a single decision tree without tuning any parameters. We did not tune any parameters. We could adjust the max feature setting or apply pre-pruning as we did for the single decision tree. However, often the default parameters of the random forest work quite well. Similar to decision tree, the random forest provides feature importance, which are computed by aggregating the feature importance over the decision trees in the forest. Typically, feature importance provides random forests are more reliable. Which features are more reliable? The ones provided by a single tree. Take a look at the important feature importances computed using the random forest. So we find the feature importances. So here are the feature importances for different trees importances. As you can see, the random forest gives non-zero importance. It gives non-zero importance to many more features than the single tree. Single tree, it gives importance very few features or some features, and some of the features they are made to zero. If you recall the last lecture. Uh, Similar to this single decision tree, the random forest also gives a lot of importance to worst radius. It gives a lot of importance to the worst radius, this one. And single tree also gives it the importance to it, but it also gives the importance to the worst parameter. This is the worst parameter. It gives it more importance to worst parameter. The randomness in building the random forest forces the algorithm to consider many possible explanations. The results being the random forest captures a much broader picture of the data than a single tree. So it makes a more broader picture than a single tree. So talking to the strengths and weaknesses of the decision tree, random forest for regression and classification are currently among the most Widely used machine learning methods. They are very powerful and often work well without having tuning of the parameters and don't require the scaling of the data. Essentially, random forests share all the benefits of decision trees, making up some of the deficiencies, cover some of the deficiencies. One reason to still use the decision tree is you want a compact representation and it want to interpret, it is basically impossible to interpret tens or hundreds of trees in detail. Trees in random forest tend to be deeper than decision tree. Trees in random forest are they are more deeper than the decision tree because of the features, subset of features. Therefore, if you want to summarize the prediction making in a visual way to non-expert, a single decision tree might be a better choice. So to explain it to non-expert people, it is good to explain using the single decision tree. But if you use the random forest, it gets a little difficult or to explain the non-expert person. While building random forest on large data set to somewhat time consuming. It gets time consuming on the large data set. Random forest is time consuming for large data set. It can be parallelized using multiple CPU cores or you can use multiple CPU cores. If you are using multiple CPU cores, so you can set the parameters and jobs. And if n jobs is -1, it use all the cores in your computer. You should keep in mind that the random forest by their nature are random and setting different random states. The more trees there are in the forest, the more robust it will be against the choice of random state. Random forest does not tend to perform well on very high dimensional data or sparse data such as text data. For this kind of data, linear models might be appropriate. Random forests usually work well on even on very large data set and training can easily be parallelized over CPU cores with the powerful computers. However, random forests require more memory and slower to train to predict the linear models. The important parameters to adjust for random forest are n estimator and max features and possibly pruning options maximum depth. The rule of thumb is to as many times, however, for n estimator, larger is better, larger max depth is better. Averaging more trees will yield a more robust ensembles. Averaging more trees will be a good option to reduce overfitting. And common rule of thumb is, but if you use more trees, but it gets time, it requires more memory and time consuming. So a rule of thumb is how much you have the memory or time. As described, max features determine how random each tree is. A smaller max feature reduces overfitting. In general, it's a good rule of thumb to use the max feature is equal to square root of n features. Max feature is equal to square root of n feature for classification and max feature is equal to log to the base 2 of n features for regression. Adding max features or max leaf nodes might sometimes improve performance. It can also be drastically reduce space or time requirements for training and prediction. So it was all about it was the basic of the ensemble networks, and ensemble classifier we first use the random forest, and then in the second part we will talk about gradient boosted regression trees. Thank you.